Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I mean, you gotta respect, a captain that just, you just pick yourself Bane, right? You just gotta respect the guy.
Yeah, it's not like I don't feel like Bane is as much of an easy to just play support as it used to be, right? Like with the changes to brain sap, the early levels, you don't just instantly get to bully someone out. So you do experience a back and forth pummeling compared to like previous Bane when it was pure damage and there was no way you could like trade with it.
Yeah, I mean, the hero still functions kind of the same way. It's just, yeah, like you mentioned, that it's not pure damage, but
Yeah,
he still
it's
does the
better
same
when
thing,
it's
kind of.
maxed out, right? But it's like it needs to ramp up is the idea. So like level 1, 2 aren't as dominant, but 3, 4 should be stronger than the older version.
Yeah, and then you kind of fall off. I mean, the brain cell falls off a little bit more
Yeah.
than it used to, but it's kind of okay. Kind of classic Rubik going up against like both Bane and Enigma. You have a lot of things to play against. Also, just generally, this Rubik against Bane matchup has always been kind of a nice one. It's so easy to steal spells from Bane and kind of just return the favor with a better duration.
And then, of course, Live to Win have kind of given them a clearly very dominant spell to steal in this game because they did go for the Enigma, a hero that I feel like the only team I've seen make this look pretty formidable recently has been Liquid. And that's because they've been running these like insanely greedy drafts where they would give it to Tiger and they'd like run a tri lane. Hey, the man with the new car.
Yep.
But it's true of it, right? Like this hero, it feels really awkward to like function because the meta is still about kind of like playing fast, right? It's all about like present in the early phases. Any big cooldown requires even more gains. And if you compare it to things like a Death Prophet, right? As a different example hero, Death Prophet has a big cooldown on her ultimate, but it's a lot easier to get that maximum impact, right? Because you're not limited to that one moment in the fight where you either hit it or miss it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also kind of just the fact that like a hero like DP at least has, a lot of these spells that you can kind of play around with, when your ult's down. However, we'll see kind of what approach they have to this Enigma hero. I'm not entirely sure if it's just a decent lane matchup. Obviously, Lifestealers not amazing at hitting the Eidolons and, might suffer a little bit against the denying of some of the creeps. They just kind of want to, like this lifestealer is like, if I'm the lifestealer player in this game, I'm pretty sad. Like I see there's Bane, there's this grip, right? There's Black Hole, there's Tusk Punch, and there's also Morphling. So basically, all 4 heroes so far from Live to Win are quite strong against lifestealer.
That feels like a rare occasion, a lifestealer game where the lifestealer is sad because this is kind of the carry of the meta right now, right? It almost feels like there's never a game where you don't feel like you'll have relevance, whether it's as the sheer right clicker or this kind of frontliner for your mid that dishes out the right clicks instead.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing about the hero still, though. Like even though you have a bunch of these counters, right? Like what the hero does is it just plays in your face, right? And it sets your teammates up to be able to play their game better. Just having this beefy boy with rage just going up in front makes it easy to cast your spells on some of the other heroes. However, though, I'm a little bit worried. Like, if the game goes late, I mean, I definitely favor Live to Win. I just think thing about HellRaisers lineup is they have a lot of supports. Like Beastmaster is, he's a core, sure, and Queen of Pain too, but they don't scale amazingly, right? And Lifestealer in a game like this also doesn't scale amazingly. So HellRaisers kind of needs to grab this game and control it. Otherwise, they could get a little bit dicey for them.
To use the term which I can't imagine hasn't already been used, they need to raise hell on the lanes. There you go. All right, I'm done now. I'm just gonna leave you guys. Bye.
All right, so I'm gonna do this takeover, and yeah, it was nice having KP here, but okay, you're back.
I have returned. I decided it may be a bad idea to abandon you right at the beginning of the stream.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now I just want to abandon
a little bit later on, sure.
Well, now I just want to go abandon it because Live to Win. What's the point in having this Zeus in your logo if you're not going to pick it?
Yeah, DK. I mean, like, you imagine the guy. He's like, what hero do you want? He's like, give me Dragon Knight. Like, I don't know about that one, Chief. It's to be honest, it's a decent DK game. I mean, it's like one of these you just get some bracers and maybe blink PKP, and then you get to do your job. And the lane should be pretty good against Queen of Pain. You can't really harass the DK out of the lane. It used to be kind of the other way around, where the matchup was kind of Queen of Pain favored, but nowadays DK just you get a lot of regen and the breed fire damage reduction. I think people also kind of just realize how to play these matchups. Obviously, once Queen of Pain gets to a higher level, it can get dicey if you max the Shadow Strike, but it kind of gets offset when DK gets 6.
Yeah, that also means your Queen of Pain that has max Shadow Strike, which means that you have to keep going and finding kills because you can't just have
It's
that
also
backup plan in the jungle.
Yeah, and it's also probably a bit about the 2-minute rune, like the fact that you don't get a rune on the 2 minutes. You can't just go bottle and just spam out all your spells, and kind of favors DK in that sense. It becomes more a war of just right clicking, and you can't really deny any creeps as Queen of Pain if DK has a calling blade. So
it also fixes the issue like Live to Win didn't really have someone to frontline these early tower pushes. Like you have this Enigma, sure, as a hero that can shove lane, but like compare it to HellRaisers where they got this Beastmaster, right? They have like a very early timing to try and take out the tier 1s.
Yeah. No, I mean I feel like this is a very good Morphling game. I think I would honestly be surprised if ILTW didn't just make it happen, but we'll see if HR can kind of get up to some shenanigans in the early game stage and kind of just run with the game from there.
Yep, that definitely actually needs to take the advantage early on. And the other thing is also, right, you're a DK against a Rubik. So that's actually another like ideal steal in this game for King R. He has his fair share of spells that could get max impact in this game.
Yeah, I mean DK is okay. I mean, are you referring to the stun or?
Yeah, the Dragon Tail.
Because it's just the fact that it's just it's going to be position 5 Rubik, right? So it's like he's not going to be that geared.
I mean, you say it's going to be POS 5 Rubik. Let's be fair here, right? A team did just kind of beat the crap out of all the EU opponents, regularly running Insania on that Rubik.
No, I'm not saying position 5 Rubik's bad. I'm just saying the position 5 Rubik doesn't really get that much gold. So, getting the Dragon Tail off is not always the easiest thing to do in a fight as a 5.
Yeah, I get you. It's like kind of case, like, because you have the lower priority XP and gold-wise, you should fall behind a bit.
Yeah, and just running up to targets and bonking them with the Dragon Tail might not be the easiest thing. But,
But mate, it just like screams, just runs at them like a madman. And then instantly dies. Like, but guys, I stunned him. Look.
Yeah, so it's gonna be Beast Lina against Bane Morph. I mean, yeah, I feel like this should be a pretty decent lane for Bane Morph. Obviously, the lane is gonna be pushing quite a bit in the favor of HR, but I think Live to Win should be pretty happy with this one up top. I'm curious to see how kind of this Enigma fares in the bottom lane.
I wonder if they'll actually maybe try and start out like tri-lane top.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like a flavor thing for Liquid, but this is one of those type of heroes that benefits from it, right? Like you run a Tusk up there, you shout out the Beastmaster. Beast, not really a hero that looks good if he falls behind in the lane.
No, definitely. I mean, the Tusk already, he's got the boots, and Enigma is one of those heroes that can kind of do, decently on his own. They're gonna run into King R here.
Nyx is here, Lilith's over here as well, but there's too many heroes they need to run. Ice Shard's out. Looks like Nyx will get away, but he was forced to level the Rage. Not the biggest deal, but it means he can be pressured a little bit earlier at level 1.
And see Seneko, man. You see this guy? He's just walking at him.
4 armor, 305 movement speed, a lot of health. Yeah, I don't think you want to turn around against that.
Yeah, so the one thing about this Live to Win draft is the heroes are a little bit clunky. Bar the Morph, they're not the most mobile heroes. Sure, Tusk has some snowballs, and Enigma eventually and DK2 get blinks, but it's gonna be a while before we get there. So
yeah, it's more the case that I think the concern here, right, for Live to Win is that if they misstep once or twice, the map gets shrunk too quickly in this game for their draft to function.
For sure. I mean, if the Beastmaster gets off to a good start, then things could get dicey.
Good God. How loud have I got the voices? Just screaming in my ears.
Yeah, I have it pretty loud too.
I'm pretty sure, like, is it unit speech or voices? Let's just turn unit speech off. That'll probably fix everything. You can tell I've just been enjoying spectating Dots for like a few weeks
but
now.
how are you gonna hear them? Yeah, and it's gonna be this. You're gonna start with this trial up top here.
It's the brutal factor for a Beastmaster, right? Like this hero rarely loses a lane, but I mean we saw it time and time again when it was 2-on-2s against like the Snapfire Void. You see it with the tri lanes as well. Like if he does fall behind, if it's a staple part of your draft completely falls apart.
Yeah, and this is where the Enigma is kind of nice, right? You don't really care that much that you're alone for now. Depending on how the polls go and kind of what happens early on, can get tough for you, but you're gonna be pretty happy here. The lifesteal is gonna suffer in terms of XP, and more should be happy up top now.
Oh, that's definitely. It's a case of like when you look at the heroes on Live to Win, XP wise, it's just the DK and the Enigma that really like need it early on. Like Tusk is nice with levels, you get a quick 6 sure, but tag team just has that kind of overwhelming factor if you can start to pull up early. So XP not the biggest loss for immersion in this game.
No, it's not gonna matter all that much. They just kind of want to secure the early game for the morph so that he can get up to a good start. And if he pulls ahead slightly in terms of levels and gets 1 or 2 Wraith bands or whatever into treads, then he can kind of bully this beast on his own.
I think it's like the differential is, say like you can get to say level 4, level 5 and be still center free, then you just kind of shift the Tusk away and then the damage is done. Funnick shouldn't really recover at that point.
Yeah, the one thing right now that's kind of hurting Live to Win is this ward here. It's just spotting the Tusk and the Bane all the time, and he kind of just lets HR just to play this top lane without being really too worried. Once they get a few levels on the Tusk and the Bane, potentially, they can make something happen.
Yeah, the problem is because of this vision, they're not able to really punish the fragility of the past 4 in this game. Lena, of course, that type of hero, if you can get on top of, she will die very quickly. But
yeah.
So far, just not looking like it's going to be the case. On that bot lane, Kulich, I mean, he's got some denies, and that's always going to happen, but he's already missing out on a decent amount of CS due to the pressure coming out from King R.
Yeah, at the same time, though, he's just about to hit 3, and so is the lifestealer, so it's not, it's not the biggest deal in the world for him, I think. His job, I think, kind of in this laning stage is to just suppress the lifestealer more so than, get too much on his own. Obviously, you want to get as much as you can, but you're still doing your job here.
Yeah, it's more about what can maybe come out of this mid lane, right? So, like, Lifestealer, you're going to slow him down a bit, but he will get a decent amount of CS. It's whether they can have Queen of Pain pretty bulky going into that mid game, because Kasani is going to be a lot of their damage. Okay. Funnick successfully frontline, and Lil has got his spells coming off cooldown as well, so they can't even finish him off. And our Russian broadcaster is just pointing out Tusk is a very sad boy, only just got level 2. I always like it when the other casters, like, they got things to point out. My favorite one is when it would be random stuff like branch or ward in inventory for person.
I mean, sometimes in case someone missed that one branch or ward, gotta make sure.
I think the most trivial one I've had is when Tango regen effect is on a person. Like, thank you. Very helpful analysis from the other caster. Lil being brought low. Seneko the same way, though. They get the kill first. Lil does go down afterwards, but he gets the first blood gold.
I mean, you're pretty happy right now if you're HR, I think. Got the first blood. Lil's gonna come back to the lane with, full mana and everything, and his Tusk is quite low level. I mean, to me, it's just... I mean, obviously, I'm not a position 4 player, but I just feel like in a scenario like this, I'm just curious if had it not been better to just get an orb on Tusk, because you could have actually made pressured more.
No, I think that's a fair point, right? Because when you look at the 2 heroes up here for HR, they are pretty immobile. It's not like they're naturally going to be able to disengage quickly. And I guess maybe his worry was you get a move, you don't get any value mid because it's a Queen of Pain, but I feel like that means you have to invest more successfully into this top lane because it means you can't gank mid. You can't really punish Kasani in this game.
Yeah, and you look at this Queen of Pain, like, this is what you do against a DK, right? You go for the 3-0-2 build. Who needs Blink, It's a DK. But you can see, right, in this lane, like the DK Queen of Pain matchup nowadays, this DK, he's just happily farming, right? He's got his Bracer, 2 points in Dragon Blood. He can't really be harassed. He's about to hit 6 soon. And he's just gonna start pressuring both the Queen of Pain and the tower.
Yeah, she'll just probably come here, shove out the lane each time, so it shouldn't be too much damage done by FN if he starts dragon forming for the mid. Maybe a better value actually for Live to Win is if FN tries to rotate to the outer lanes. But then I'm wondering where he goes, because I feel like if you bring him top, you then got 4 heroes.
I don't feel like
top.
you really want to rotate as the DK. I think potentially the thing you can do is try to get the Tusk or the Pain into mid, but I feel like you're kind of happy just sitting for now. You kind of just play the waiting game. Like, you don't really have to rotate anywhere. It's like,
or you get a haste rune, and that's exactly what you do. The one situation where it makes sense. We'll allow him to move on to Phonic. He'll go for the TP away, and they've got the damage to stop it, which means he's got to walk a shame back to the lane.
Yeah, I think that port is actually the thing that's going to hurt him quite a bit here. The fact he's going to have to be running into the top lane now. This is a scenario also where, like, as this Beastmaster now, you don't really want to buy these boosts to run faster to top because you want to get that hook as fast as possible. But now he has to do the slow walk of chain back to the lane. So
at that moment, you just summon your boars. Like, at least I won't be alone in this walk. The problem is, someone else might need to make the walk if they're not careful. Lil already being pressured. Stands his ground. TP coming in from the Rubik. King R trying to save the day. Pushes Immersion under the tower. They turn around with stun on Snaker with a Fade Bolt to free him low. They'll be able to get the kill. They almost get Immersion as well. Just out of range of the Dragon Slave. Now, this does mean a Kulich is now a lone bot against a Lifestealer. I don't know if that matters at this stage, considering Nyx has level 6, a Bracer, and a Phase Boots. As he's diving a Kulich right now. And a Kulich is looking very screwed. Well, it really is a game of offlaners and TPs, isn't it?
That was a very, very ambitious TP. I mean... Normally. Yeah. Alright.
Maybe he thought... You know what? I saw what happened at Beastmaster. Friendly handicap. Of course, I have boots, so I'll be back on the lane quicker than good old Phonic.
Fair point.
But to be honest, I don't know.
You do win competitive gaming.
Totally. I mean, do you want to win with cheap stuff? It's not like people have done that to win TIs before, right?
Nah. No. It's all about honor.
Exactly. And Pudge hooking to Found or crap like that. It's a little bit concerning, but nonetheless, he is ahead on XP, right? Because obviously, Beastmaster's in the Geo lane. He's been left alone. But to the flip side, still this Tusk. He's up to level 3 at least, and it looks like he is able to find kills. King R oversteps his mark. Gets brought down. And Lil now in the mid. Well, they got DD, but without hitting your stuns, you're unlikely to get a kill. Kisani's still trying Sonic Wave through. But very far to stay up. FM won't live, though. Dragon Slave secures the kill.
Guys, where's my TP? Ping.
It's on cooldown. Definitely on cooldown. Okay.
Ping.
I mean, to be honest, I think he's long gone at that point.
Ooh. This Lifestealers. He's queuing up the battlefield,
Oh. Ooh. Well... I haven't seen that in a hot minute on a Lifestealer. Usually you're more interested in, sustain or single target focus. King R in the mid lane.
Not sure.
A lot of focus onto him. Oh, the LSA though, the turnaround, bring them low as well. They're trying to get rid of King R, but the Fade Bolt secures the kill on the Tusk first. And they will give up there. When we'll walk away. And in the end, HellRaisers get a slightly better exchange out of that.
Yeah, LTW cancels port. But yeah, I mean, this Lifestealer build is an interesting choice.
He's an innovator. He's a provocateur. I mean, come on, like Nyx. If anyone knows what to build on Lifestealer,
Nyx.
Different era, but close. What's up with Nyx right now? Actually, I feel like this hero is just completely dead.
I feel like Nyx kind of comes and goes, Like there's a Nyx patch, and then Nyx gets nerfed, and then it's like, oh, okay, the hero's garbage again, and then some slight buff, and some slight changes to some hero, and then it's like, oh, Nyx first pick.
I was wondering if it's kind of like that. People forget about it. Like when you think of some of the heroes that are being picked right now, things like Spike Carapace can be quite effective against a lot of these kind of AOE based heroes, so it's like very easily exploitable.
Yeah, I mean it is, but it's also about it's about like what save laners are played. You know, like life stealers and morphlings and like a lot
Hmm,
of these heroes, they don't really care about this next hero.
that's true.
And you know, it's like I think in patches where heroes like Viper, Razor, were these heroes that have this kind of uncontrollable AoE spells that just get shot away. You know, like those are the heroes that really struggle.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe with
LTW
heroes
here,
like Sven and the PA, like the break element of Vendetta might be good enough. You
Sonic
know
might
what's
be in
up?
trouble here.
He'll try for the TP again. This really is becoming the game of how not to TP with offlaners. Because in the bot lane, this time at least the Coolidge won't try to TP as well, but he will be brought down under his tier 1 tower.
Yeah, Lilith, he's making it happen. This poor top though, this is pretty risky here.
King R. We didn't see anything. There won't be anything to see in this lane soon as they are pressuring onto the tower with the catapult still standing.
Yeah, and Soneko here is doing a nice job of just kind of dragging the creeps off the tower so Queen of Pain can't be pressuring.
Yeah, bot is going to feel some pressure though. And Enigma is TPing back here. They'll respect the fact that he has Black Hole, so they don't want to risk it in case there's a secondary TP. But in the end, it's actually Live to Win, getting a better exchange there as they take the tier 1 top. Some pressure onto the other 2 lanes, but nothing resulting in a tower loss.
Yeah, you can see now the key is slightly pulling ahead of the Queen of Pain. More of kind of the same story with the Lifestealer. And I think despite being slightly down on goal, I think you're pretty happy right now if you Live to Win. The goal, like the Beastmaster is off to, you know, somewhat of a slow start.
Yeah, it's more a case of like you compare these 2 offlaners and the Enigma, yeah, he's having a rough time as well. But the later it gets, the better his game feels. Whereas like while a Beastmaster will have relevance, a big part of why you pick this hero isn't just the magic piercing immunity stun, it's the early push that you get out of him, which is definitely not there as they're pushing him to his limits. This smoke will seem like it might be for nothing for HellRaisers. They're lurking around. If Immersion steps forward, they could easily zap him down having the Laguna online.
And I think though, when you make a commitment like this, like a 3-man smoke, then
Oh,
all you really get is
nope. That's the level 1 lift for you. Now Immersion instantly goes in. Stolen Snowball to return towards him. And he doesn't even get the kill on the King R. He does give over his life. Nice save coming out from Nyx, but the big kill not actually successful, and they bring more or less the entire team to the top lane.
Yeah, and as I was saying, kind of just if you bring this amount of like heroes to a lane in order to try to kill the Morphling, if all you get is this Tusk, it's not really worth it, especially when DK also manages to pick up the mid tower. Morph just ports bottom, he's going to be pressuring here now.
And now look at
He
this.
just rotated, so...
Soneko just goes in. As you said, they just rotate. So there's not many people who can respond to this. With the Fiend's Grip getting maximum use, they'll get the kill. But the Stolen Fiend's Grip King R drags back Soneko, and now he has his own toy to play with. They do find the kill on the Morphling, though.
Lil, the solo kill in the bottom lane, just from the fog of war.
I mean...
Morphling, he was all the way down, pretty much, so...
From the XP gain. I mean, look at him now. He's up to level 9 on this Lina.
Yeah, I mean, Lilith, he's doing a very good job so far, you know, even surpassing the Enigma in terms of both levels and gold.
I think he's just second and he's going, step aside, Phonic. I'm the real boss for at this point. All right, you support me as best you can. I'll zap them down wherever they appear. Maybe LTW now learn an important lesson about where his health threshold should be. Maybe a little bit higher if you want to play that far forward.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting quite close now to this Linken's here. There is the Battle Fury completed on the Lifestealer, but as I was saying earlier, I'm just surprised because I mean there are so many kind of good tools to deal with the Lifestealer, and you know you go this build, it kind of indicates that you want to be taking a game later.
So Tusk experiencing that Stolen Fiend's Grip, and will die alongside his tier 1 tower as they're able to get their little push on the side of HellRaisers. And yet you're right, like this. I'm wondering if there's like a better choice. Maybe you just choose to lean to playing faster with things like the armor in this game as Nyx. I guess there is an argument that he will excel far past LTW because LTW has gone for this Linken's first.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, Moore still farms quite fast, and can still pressure quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, kind of see how it plays out. I think for now, I think on the back of Lil's kind of early game play, I think they're in a pretty good position still.
Yeah, they've got plenty of burst damage, right? Against heroes that don't like that experience. Like, we've seen the Morphling, he can die very easily, just leaner alone. Even the DK, against this much magic damage, it's going to be harder for him to front line. That's why FN's also gone for this armlet build, just to be able to tank up and dish out more damage simultaneously.
Yeah, I was a little bit curious about the armlet pickup. It's just probably just, you know, some added damage, a little bit more durability, and he's going for this blink now. I think it's kind of what you need to be getting this game. This blink is going to be quite crucial. It's going to allow them to kind of play the game, play the map. Queen of Pain did go for a Blade Mill, and it's not queuing up a Lincoln's. The Lincoln kind of makes sense. Most of these spells are single target, and BKB doesn't really make all that much sense here, since there's, you know, there's the Black Hole, the Fiend Script, and the Punch.
Yeah, it does create a potentially double-edged sword. Speaking of that, fight coming out, Primal Roar into the lift, stun 2 of them, LSA. Nice dodge out with the Nightmare. Means the HellRaisers need to retreat, but they forced out the Dragon Form. LTW chasing in as the Queen of Pain. Lil brought low and killed off. The steal comes out. King O does get some more mobility in the waveform, which means they can't pursue him. But they'll try. LTW spots him. Waveform coming off cooldown, and he guesses wrong. Whoops. Queen of Pain will get away as well, so good response from our side, but not able to actually find any big kill like the Queen of Pain or maybe the Beast.
Yeah, I mean, he got the 5-kill streak on the Morphling, so he's gonna have his Lincolns now.
Yeah. And with this, we'll see if they want to play more aggressive. You can already see that they've smoked up. They're moving into the Radiant side of the map. Martian's still feeling a little bit underleveled at this stage. Level 8 on the Tusk. When you compare to the other side, where Lil's already got his 10, Rubik's at 8 as well. But enough points in tag team. I mean, they got the DD, so with the armor as well, this is a very feasible objective.
Yeah, it's very quick with this DD and the tag team.
And you wouldn't expect this. I mean, they're smoking now. They find it a little bit suspect at this point, but it's too little too late. Aegis in the hands of LTW. Now got that Lincolns and an Aegis, making him more or less the unkillable target of the game.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to bring down this Morph now.
Alright, I'm pretty sure HellRaisers all... Oh! Alright. Spoke too soon. That was not hard at all. And the second round is ready to rock. LSA comes out. Primal Roar as well, as the Linkers is still on cooldown. He did at least morph up, so we had a waveform out. But he'll go for the TP away, which is complete... I mean, I guess there was no other option, but a TP at that point is not going to come out well for you ever.
I mean, it would have been really hard bringing down the Morph had he not done that, you know?
Had he not basically died the same way you died bot, right?
I mean, you run up a hill alone where you force your team into this very awkward choke point against the Beastmaster where there's a lot of vision. You're kind of asking for trouble.
See, this is one of those situations where you wish you didn't have the deep ward, right? Because Lift to Win, they do have this ward, which should have vision of this entire area. And it maybe baits you into having that level of confidence to play up in that area as if there's nothing in the world that can hurt you.
Yeah, the self-bait from the ward.
You know, like, we all have our games where we go, noob support, why you not ward more, all right? This is one of those games where you like, noob support, why you ward so much.
Classic case of noob support, why you ward so much.
Exactly. No matter what happens, right? Is there someone I've learned from years of Dota? No matter what happens, it's not your fault.
Yeah, I mean, that was... I don't know, that was very strange there.
See? Kasani right now, this death, he's going to blame on that ward right there. I think that one's a bit more forgivable though, right? Considering the way they got Morphling, you wouldn't even suspect that they have vision in this area, considering the way he played up into that choke point.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Morphling's double death was slightly more curious.
Well, let's hope Morphling's had one of these and woken up. And this time around, he'll be able to push successfully with his team. He's going towards the E-Blade next. Of course, that long time on the sideline has stunted his growth, and we can already see Nick starting to move ahead. Going for the Sanj and Yasha to get that extra mobility. Chase him with the snowball into the Walrus Punch. Gets the kill on Alina. Ice Shard still to try and block them in. They don't know where they will go. Fiend Script's going to come out. Seneko, they need to interrupt him. They don't have a stun. So they're able to control the Lifestealer up entirely. LS8 finally is there after the buyback comes out from Lina. Now LTW trying to run away. Rage is running out. He's got the waveform, so he should be able to escape, especially being morphed up like this. They'll chase forward, though. They'll jump out with the Infest. Slow him down. The problem with having this much strength is it makes it easy for Nyx to stay on top and sustain. Ramaror's going to come out because Link is still on cooldown, and they have the damage to once again kill Morphling. Almost in the same place, actually.
Yeah, very, very much, very close to the same place. ILTW is actually making this game pretty difficult for Liv to win, I think. I think all he really has to do in this game is just to hit some creeps and get to this, you know, big morphling point, but he's showing up to a few too many of these fights, I think.
Do you think maybe he's panicking, right? Well, not maybe panic's the wrong word, but he feels like he needs to be more pressuring on their side of the map, considering this Lifestealer Battle Fury build, right? Like, you see that, you go, yo, that's greedy. I need to punish that. And then you feel like you can up until that mishap with losing the Aegis and dying. And that's the stage where he should have adjusted, but maybe he didn't read that at that point and has continued to play in an aggressive fashion, which doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, it can also be kind of just like, you feel like you should not be able to die in this game, you know, especially with the Lincolns and like with the Aegis and everything, and then you do overextend just because of how...
Oh. It's happening again. Lincoln's pop, in the lift, scream through. He did actually get the morph off though, so he will live. He's adjusted. He's realized if he just pushes his buttons quicker, the world is his oyster.
Yeah, those are some quick reactions.
Looked like they should have had him in time as well. It's actually a really smart move coming out from HellRaisers.
Yeah, it's very convenient for him now. He's got, you know, he's got the Jelly, the Lincolns, and the Dragon Scale, so his HP regen, I mean, especially when you have such a low amount of HP, is quite fast.
It's like this idea that he's walked over to FN and just randomly just pulled off a piece of his like skin. Like, this will make a good neutral item.
Yeah, and while ILTW is, you know, not having the best of games, I think FN he's just kind of quietly farming. You see, he's kind of close to the Lifestealer in terms of net worth, and that's a Battle Fury as in my Lifestealer, and he's quite close. He's got the BKB flying out. He's gonna be scaling quite well, I think, in this game.
This does feel very reminiscent of the Virtus Pro Prodigy draft with FN in it, the roster, where they had Epi Kid, but you could really feel this interchangeability of the roles, where some games FN would be very far ahead of Epi Kid in terms of farm. And then even with that lead, the way he itemizes is about finding a way to bridge the gap for his real carry. Hence this Blink, hence this BKB. As he moves up to try and fight, way too late, and he doesn't even get the BKB off, so he's lifted and dragged back. Has to activate it now. Dragon Tail turn around on the Beastmaster, who has the Prime Roar still. LSA, try and cover him. We'll be able to turn around on the Tusk. They bring him low. Beastmaster does go down. The root will hold in place Kisani, but not for long. He's able to escape. Open wounds on the Lil will not be pursued either. It's a little bit too risky, they know it. And he pumps the LSA a little bit too much. Pays the price. Jump in from FM without hesitation.
Yeah, the Beast, he didn't get to use the board there. That's kind of the deal breaker. If he gets that roar off, potentially they're going to be able to take that fight, but when you don't, it's just a no-go.
Yeah, it was well played by Live to Win in that regard. Like, they didn't want to actually lay off him. At the same time, it felt like he wanted to wait 1 or 2 extra seconds for teammates to arrive, which inevitably means he's never going to get a chance to press the roar. Oh, what? Okay, there we go. Now Nyx, he's realized... Hold on, guys, what? Oh, my mistake. I'm not playing anti-mage. Let me build an AC. He's realized what hero he's really on. This is getting a little bit more towards what we usually expect to see out of a Lifestealer.
Yeah, the face boots might have also been you know, somewhat of a giveaway, but you know, I've seen people dabble on anti-mage.
All right, Queen of Pain's got dabble with Death here. Waveform in with the Fiend's Grip as well. Got to run this kill through. King on. You could see it. He was like, I'm gonna steal that. No, he decides against trying to get the Fiend's Grip away from Seneko.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like potentially you just go in there, try to get the lift off. And, you know, if you do, you save your Queen of Pain.
Unlike us, the players, can't see the net worth differential nicely laid out. So maybe he just delusionally said, no, I'm worth just as much.
That could definitely be the case.
We've all been there. Let's see what's going to happen now, though. The Queen of Pain gone for just 20 more seconds. It feels like Live to Win don't really have a big window to push on the towers. But then again, you have a DK. So the word's not taking towers is not in the vocabulary. But
yeah,
Roche,
they've already taken, quite a few.
Most of them.
Only 2 tier 2s remain.
yes. And Roche might be up in 1 second. So they decided to just back up for the moment. It's going to be 30-second spawn time.
It's also going to be an E-Blade now on the Morphling, so now he can finally start kind of dishing out some more damage.
Meanwhile, Kasani hasn't even got his Lincolns yet. I mean, he could buy out on it now, but I feel like maybe you want that buyback around the Roche fight because you are a mobility-based hero that could respond.
Yeah, at the same time, if you are forced to buy back at this point, I think you're kind of just out of the game. Mm-hmm. I think that's why he's going for this Lincolns. If you're going to die in this fight and buy back, your net worth is just going to be non-existent.
Now, this puts more pressure on Akulich, but also gives him more value in this game, because that's the reality of the way that they've drafted and built their heals on HellRaisers. Yeah, you can deal with these single target stuns, but a black hole in the right moment completely dismantles your ability to take any fight.
It's going to be... They do have vision on this Roche, so going in here it's kind of risky here.
Nope, they don't care. Again, this pit. Hit the big boy. Nyx has lost Lincoln's effect. He's a little bit hesitant now. The pings are coming out. Ice shards to block him off from escaping. Lil stuck there as well. Lift's going to come out to Tusk now. Immersion. He's snowballed towards Lil. Dragon Tail stun is there with the BKB activated. FN goes in, Waylon on the target. Lina, Yules buys her a little bit more time. They turn around, they bring down the Tusk, and Lil is going to live. Nice save from Nyx. Not good enough. The black hole. It connects. King R, he gets the steal. He moves across, turns around onto them, drags them in, catches them morphing as well. RTW trying to morph up, able to do so quick enough. They bring down the Rubik. FN though, in trouble. No BKB. He needs to stand and fight. Scares off Kasani. Turn around. RTW does bring down Phonic. Moving away. Kasani able to escape. With that, despite what looked like an amazing black hole coming out from the Rubik after the steal, it's actually Live to Win that come out ahead and can now go in and try and finish off this Roche.
Yeah, you can see the damage dealt there from the DK. 5k damage, almost 6k damage there from the DK, and he's putting in work.
He's like, hop on my shoulders, lads. I'll take you across the finish line. FN definitely proving why, he's such a talented mid. And we weren't sure what to expect out of this DK, right? When we saw this round out the draft, we're like, it's not a bad DK game. What are they looking towards here? I don't know if either of us really expected a game where he pops off this hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's also kind of the setup of their heroes. It's nice for them to have this DK Tuscan Morph. They just go in and create chaos, and you kind of have to respond to these heroes, and this makes dealing with the Enigma a bit more difficult.
This is not a fast Roche, by the way. Live to Win identified without the black hole they needed to back up, but they've got Elder Dragon Form in 10 seconds. It looks like it might be too late, though. They are moving towards it now. Ice Shard scouting out how low it is. They're going to move in.
I mean, a Midnight Pulse here could be the
Dragon Form.
heroes here.
Yep, Nyx is in trouble if he gets stunned here. Does get the rage off in time. Live to come out. They're trying to protect him long enough. They get the A, gets snatched by Older Kulich. He will give over his life. But now Nyx needs to escape. FN, he's still holding on that BKB in the meantime as they try to cut the back line. Rubik does get caught out. King R is going to be left behind as food for the side of Live to Win. No chase forward. FN still looking for more. Looks the wrong way. All in all,
Yeah, who picked up this?
Akulich got his hands on the Juicy Aegis, so no dice for HellRaisers, and a critical point in the game as well, because they didn't have Black Hole able to take the fight the way they did. But now Immersion in trouble. Snowballed by a few extra seconds. See if there's a response. Stun comes out into Lil. Cutting that back line again. Looking on the Lina to bring her down. And now the movement is going to be there. Gun Grease not good enough to save from the Sonic Wave though. Buyback comes out from Lina. Nyx brought low. Will die. LTW does get stunned up. But no Laguna, so he doesn't have to worry about forgetting his health again and being just instantly zapped on full agi. So they get some big kills. They even get a buyback out of Lil, who had been having a pretty damn decent game before these fights. Seneko, whose game's looking a bit rough, but able to wander. Chase forward to Kulich. Looking at the Malefice. We'll have the follow-up after the Dragon Tail. FN once again. Hunting and killing.
Yeah, it's starting to get pretty difficult now for this lifestealer kind of to play the game against all of these kind of lifesteal counters here. And just the Morphling, you know, with the rage, he's going for the BKB still, but
a Morphling that has completely caught up to the Lifestealer. Also got a great item, by the way, Mindbreaker with the waveform attacking targets, so it can instantly silence the Lifestealer. Yeah, that's
yeah,
going to
he's
blink.
still going for the BKB, but
Yes.
it's going to be at least one side here, and at least a tier 3, potentially more.
Oh, it's definitely going to be
He's
more.
ready, so.
Oh, the Dragon Form's paying for him at this point. It's got 20 extra strength as well. Use that 20 talent. How do you breach FN? It's not about LTW. It's about this Dragon Knight. Right now, he just doesn't care. Hits the buildings, realizing he does no damage to Nyx. I have to keep popping all these Lincolns on top of Nyx to protect him, but you know, the other side of this is it does mean that Kasani could be an easy target, and the rest of your team are easy pickings still for Live to win.
Yeah, and you see that the Rex, they kind of just melt there with the Orbital Destruction on DK and the AC. Of course, the Corrosive Breath.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he has in his diet that causes that kind of effect on buildings, but I don't think it's something a human can eat. So far, I'm pretty sure when we look at the stats at the end of this game, he's probably going to be at the top in terms of hero and building damage at this rate.
Yeah, I mean, ILTW now after these initial kind of few...
Whoopsie daisies, shall we? I think
Whoopsie
whoopsie daisies is the right time.
It sounds about right. He's kind of picked up the pace now a little bit.
Yeah, he's realized like, oh wait, I mean, I can't rely on FN entirely. I've got to burst some targets myself. I'm being outshone here. Phonic is infested. Blink in. There it is. Straight on Oculus trying to bring him down. No snowball save. The stance comes out with the Orchid. Undertusk gets rid of him too. Sneko trying to run away to buy enough time that FN can retreat. Might be forced to pop that BKB. He's going to turn a fight. Buybacks come out from the Enigma and the Tusk. Sonic way through. They need to escape. King R's going to be brought low. They've already lost the Lifestealer though. This is the problem. Despite how many targets you think you can get through, there's always a Dragon Knight and there's always a Morphling.
Yeah, I mean, and this is kind of the thing that I was a little bit trying to talk about initially, where I feel like there's just too many supports on HR. I think these heroes, like Lina, Queen of Pain, Beastmaster, and Rubik, they're all like, they don't really scale, right? Like you see how the DK can actually scale. He scales into physical damage, he becomes tanky, he can frontline, right? And
I mean,
it's just
you're putting all
really
your
have a
eggs
way
in
of
the
killing
Lifestealer basket, right? Like at the end of the day as well. Like in that late game scenario you're talking about, right? If Lifestealer isn't like 2 items ahead at this point for comparison, who is he killing? How is he killing them in terms of the big cores?
Yeah, and he also went for this, this Battle Fury SNY. It's 8k gold invested into something that actually does nothing in the fight. None of these items actually help you whatsoever. Sure, the move speed is nice and everything, but like some Halberd, Basher, Armlet, Deso, what have you, could be. At least you could try to man fight some of these heroes. Of course, at this point, when the Morphing has 50 armor and the DK pretty much the same.
I mean, I think the way I'm saying it, I don't know if you feel similarly, is with this Battle Fury in this type of game, right? There are games where you are having good other lanes, you go, okay, I'll cover the late game, right? Like if Beastmaster had a good game, I can maybe understand it. Whereas in this game, it feels like the comparative of like when you see your other 2 lanes feeding or something and you go, I'm gonna build a Midas. And it makes no sense for your hero, but you feel like you have to do so much yourself that you need to play for this like super late game, 30 minutes off timing.
Yeah, I mean, the strange thing is, right? Like, because it's the Lifestealer. Maybe his thinking is, he's gonna have to show a lot, because a lot of these heroes, they don't really like showing on lanes. Lina is fine with it because she can just push because he's position 4 and you don't care. But he thinks he has to just shove a bunch of lanes, and so he goes for Battle Fury. But at the same time, you really need this Lifestealer to join the fights, and at this point, you just don't have enough physical damage to actually kill the DK or the Morphling.
I mean, it's like actually the more I think about it as well is, it is a lot of damage on Battle Fury, I'll give you that. But if you're concerned with wave clear, maybe just get an item like half the price and then go into something more aggressive, like Maelstrom into then your typical Armlet, Deso, AC type items. Because you do have so much inherent attack speed that you would quickly clear these waves still. Oh. Bane steps up. Gets put down. Immersion there to save the day, though. Nice snowball out towards the creep camp, which they have vision on as well. Beautifully done. But they'll still have the left follow-up. FN's thinking about going in. LSA will kill him off, jump in with the stun on the King Art. The turnaround's going to be there. Buyback comes out from the Bane. Stun control looks good. PKB from FN, though, so he's protected. Nyx needs to run away, but the Roar's punch forward. Immersion looking to block him off, and on the other side, they're chasing, but they do find the kill on Enigma. Dead for 80 seconds, no way back into this. And they cannot clean up the kill on the other side, as Lil's able to get away. With life steal inside of him, they'll turn around and decide to punish Funnick finally. Jump in. Tusk. That's going to be him dead. No way back in now. Buybacks come out once more. Rubik and Beastman look to rejoin the fight. RTW stands his ground against the Queen of Pain, brings her down. The Fiend's grip uninterrupted for long enough by Seneko. Moves away with the Ghost Scepter to protect him. Rubik, not so lucky, will be brought down. That's going to be his dieback. Funnick, everything to save this man. He'll get out at least. Seneko does die to Kasani in the end. They get some new items, but RTW chasing in the stance is going to come out to Queen of Pain. And he can blink to chase. He's got enough damage to burst her down and kill her off. Meanwhile on the base, look who's hunting more. FN goes in, still finds the kill on the Funnick, and Nyx. Are you okay indeed? I don't know if you want to fight that. They will just look to delete the rest of your base. They even get the buyback out of Kasani. Oh,
yeah, and you see also the mobility kind of just coming up.
Oh, Kasani's just gone? I think this one is looking almost... Yeah, there it is. You could more or less sense it was coming on that last fight, right? The way that they pile everything onto Enigma, realizing that if he gets even a semi-good black hole off, they're done. But the way they're forced to split these fights, it really felt like it favored Live to win, right? Because of the lead they have, the carry, the cores in general are able to kind of sustain independently at that stage.
I just feel like Live to Win's lineup just scales way better. I mean, this is a very early lifestealer pick, and you're also forcing him into this complete position 1 role where, you know, the Beastmaster and the Queen of Pain are kind of non-scaling in the traditional kind of sense course. And so it's a lifestealer game where you're basically almost first picked, and there are 4 heroes at least in the game, if not 5, that are very strong against lifestealer. I think it's just it's kind of too much to ask.
Yeah, I mean, we went over it quite a bit in game with the Battle Fury build, right? Like, it does genuinely feel like he was approaching this game with the mindset of what you might have if you were playing an anti-mage, right? Where you're like, yeah, I completely have to carry this game. There's no other hero that can do it in this game. We're already losing top of our Beastmaster. He's fallen behind, so it's not even like we're going to have that early push timing. So it did really feel like everything of the thought process was down the line. Like, you know, you just kick the can down the line, right? It's like, this isn't our problem now. This is like our problem in 20 minutes. We'll try and address it then. But I guess the weird part is, something we highlight with HellRaisers draft is if they close the map too quickly, Live to Win's draft doesn't work. But that build means that you are in that same boat all of a sudden, where if the map closes too quickly, this Battle Fury feels weird. This Beastmaster having no gold is a moot point. And
yeah, I think sort of this Enigma pick kind of worked out for them. I think the fact that he was just able to sit down there and kind of make sure that the lifestealer doesn't just snowball out of control, and then just committing to this tri lane. Although it didn't go amazingly at first, eventually the Beastmaster was really the one who suffered, and I think that was kind of important. Like, HR could definitely have won this game, you know, with the start they had. They were up 5k at some point, but I think it's a very difficult game to actually completely take all the racks and, you know, just get the throne and everything like this. You need to snowball off of kills so hard.
yeah,
I think that's just very difficult to do.
No, it's interesting. It feels like Live to Win, they were kind of watching. I want to like highlight, you know, the previous tournament just happened, ESL, and the way that Liquid kept making this Enigma work. Because I feel like Enigma for a while has been a hero that whenever we see it get picked, they go, and that's a giant gaping weakness in your draft all of a sudden. You've just kind of tripped yourself up. But it seems like there's something to this idea of just leaving him solo completely, forcing a tri-lane in a meta that I feel like we don't really see many tri-lanes at all right now. And then completely shutting out these offlaners that are usually focused around this kind of win the laning phase and then take towers early. Things like Beastmaster, for example.
Yeah, and quite the performance from I would say FN here. Just the kind of the standout at least performance in my book. You know, he was he was going in with the blink, doing damage, tanking, just kind of being this annoying frontliner and just kind of being the centerpiece for his team, really.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
we weren't really sure about the armlet at first, right? But I think the armlet just allowed him to be a threat in that mid game, right? Whereas if he just went straight for a blink, he's just a stun, which is fine for an off lane DK. But when your morphling's behind a bit, you need to pick up the pace. He definitely done that. So open the series, Live to Win already off to a lead, win the first game. But these are best of threes. Anything can happen, and this is a CIS region. All I know about the next game is going to be a bloodbath. It's just a matter of who's going to be bathing in whose blood.